Venom number 16 was published a few days ago with this impressive cover showing Rhino on Rampage, with Eddie Brock and his son Dylan eating Venom as ice cream. A cool cover, but the thing is that Rhino does not appear in this book. We last saw how Eddie, who was separated from the Venom symbiote, was granted the power of the Dreamstone by one of Malekith War witches, which granted him a powerful symbiote similar to the Venom, but with seemingly greater power. Eddie refused to submit to the witch's will, who wanted him to join Malekith forces, and decided to protect the civilians in New York City. He fought and defeated Jack-O-Lantern, who was also granted the Dreamstone's power by the same witch to try to take down Eddie. In order to defeat the villain, Eddie dispersed the symbiote, whose fragments bonded with the people and directed them to safety. He then summoned some mystical lightning the Thor's way and struck Jack-O-Lantern with it. Being powerless again, the book opens with Eddie and his son Dylan in Rex Strickland's warehouse, where they are currently hiding. Dylan says that he is not feeling well. Checking his temperature, Eddie says that he has fever and that he needs soup and some medicine. As Dylan asks if they have any, Eddie starts hallucinating and transforms into Venom and snarls that he should just leave Dylan to die. Knowing that this is not real, Eddie tries to focus and snaps out of his hallucination, realizing that they do not have any money for any medicine and that he will have to do something about it. At the Daily Globe, the newspaper where Eddie used to work, he meets Clark, the editor-in-chief, who cheerfully greets him. In his office, Clark tells Eddie that he cannot hire him due to his criminal record. Eddie begs Clark to give him another chance for his son's sake, and as Clark thinks about it, Eddie has another hallucination of turning into Venom, threatening to kill Clark and rob him. He snaps out of it as Clark says that if Eddie can solve a problem, he will consider hiring him. Clark says that many kids went missing during the War of the Realms, and their parents want the Daily Globe to put pressure on the police to find them. He wants Eddie to find out what happened to the kids, and that if they are still alive. So if Eddie manages to solve the problem and does not kill anyone in the process, then they can talk about a new job. Eddie agreed to do this and started working on the new case without wasting time. He went to the Butcher Bar, which was a front for a stash house. Despite having known about it, Eddie had not interfered due to the gang keeping their hands clean of innocent blood. But now he decided to check and see if they know anything about the missing kids. Noticing that there is no guards out, with blood on the door handle, Eddie realizes that there is something wrong, and mentally transforms into Venom again, kicking the door in, noticing that the gang's stash of money is strewn everywhere, with the gang members dead. The hallucination of Venom snarls at him to just take the money and go feed his pathetic excuse for a son. As Eddie snaps at the hallucination to get out of his head, a baseball bat hits him in the face and knocks him to the ground. Eddie finds himself face to face with 5 homeless people, one with a baseball bat, one with a shotgun, and one with a hammer, all of them with black eyes with crimson spirals. Eddie agrees to let his inner Venom take over. As he fights, he realizes that the men are being controlled by something dark and familiar. He beats them all. Coming to his senses again, he hears a child screaming for help. Picking up a shotgun, Eddie realizes that the homeless people are being controlled by Carnage, wondering how that's possible when Cletus Cassidy and his symbiote are dead. Stepping into the freezer, Eddie finds the missing kids. He confronts Emil Gregg, who was resurrected by the Carnage using the null power, and sent to deliver a message. In his Sin Eater costume, Gregg's eyes were glowing red. He tells Eddie to let him absolve him of his sins, but Eddie says that Gregg must get away from the children. Gregg tells Eddie that he has been kidnapping the kids as a sacrifice for their god, who resurrected him and told him to deliver a message. Carnage wanted to remind Eddie of his first failure, and the monster he really is. Unleashing his inner Venom again, Eddie casts aside the shotgun and pummels Gregg's undead body into dust. The Sin Eater telling him that Cletus was resurrected by a cult worshipping Null and bonded to a piece of the Grendel symbiote, making him virtually immortal and more powerful than ever. Greg also tells Eddie that Carnage is hunting everyone who has ever bonded to a symbiote. Eddie returns to the Daily Globe in a mess. He enters Clark's office and tells him that he saved the 13 kids and that they are waiting in the lobby downstairs. He then asks to be paid as they agreed upon. The book ends with Eddie back at the warehouse, sitting next to Dylan, who says that the soup sucks. Eddie glances at his son and then smiles and hugs him, agreeing that while the soup may suck, it could be worse. Still enjoying the run, and can't wait to see how Eddie is going to bond to the Venom again. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Thanks for watching, and have a nice one.